My fiancé got drunk and tried to sleep with my best friend. I canceled the wedding and let everyone know why. The first thing I'm going to say before I get into any of this is that if there's only one person left for me to trust in this world, it'd be my friend Ricky. We've been through a lot, and I can't get into all of that today, but just believe me when I say that he's the one person who I know can never betray me. He's been in my life from way before I met my girlfriend, who is now my fiancée. She was meant to become my wife, but that's not going to happen anymore. I met Jessie 10 years ago, when I was 20, and we started dating almost right away. She was adventurous, loving, and very generous. I think the biggest thing I loved about her was that she was so different from the girls I was used to. A lot more down to earth, and far from being the party girl type, and I found myself really attracted to that amongst a lot of other things. I proposed to her a year ago, and we're close enough to the date of our wedding that we've put deposits down for quite a few things, but not everything. It's looking like we're going to have to see which deposits can be refunded and which ones can't, because she's not the kind of woman I can trust. If you told me I'd be saying this a year ago, I would have called you a liar. One thing I've always known about her is that she can't handle her alcohol. She's a lightweight. When we first met, she was very focused on her career and studying, but as she became more fulfilled professionally, there was less reason for her to be so uptight. She'd go out with friends and colleagues here and there, and every single time, if there was alcohol involved, she would clearly be under the influence. The only thing I had seen when she was drunk was that she'd be very outgoing. She didn't get aggressive or anything like that. If we have wine at home, she gets frisky too, but it wasn't wild for me to assume that that was just a perk of her being drunk at home with me. She went out with a bunch of coworkers on a day that I was working the night shift. I know a lot of the coworkers too, so I felt a little safer with her drinking around them. It was getting late and I hadn't heard from her, so I called her. It was clear that she was drunk because I'd have to ask a question like 3 or 4 times before I could get an appropriate answer. She told me that she was trying to start a car, but it was not working, and it told her up to 10 times not to try driving. I let her know that she could leave her car there, but I wasn't sure that she was actually listening. I couldn't leave work. I really couldn't. I immediately called the 2 coworkers I knew, but both of them said that they had left already. I asked why they had left her there, but they claimed they weren't the last ones to leave. I couldn't wait for them to figure out who was still there and then get back to me. So I just called Ricky, because the bar and his house were on the same side of town. I pleaded with him to help me check on her, and he immediately set off, which is part of the reason why he'll always be my guy. Ricky is married and has 2 kids, but they were already in bed by the time I called him. Plus, his wife was out of town at the time. I let him know that it'd be fine if she just slept on his couch, and if she threw up, I would hire someone to clean whatever. He couldn't drive over 30 minutes to drop her off at our house when he had kids unattended at home. The fact that he even did that for me means so much. He let me know as soon as he got to the bar, and he let me know when he found her. He said that she was sitting in her car. To say I was relieved that he got there in time is an understatement. The next problem, though, was that she couldn't find her keys. Everything was on a bunch, but as much as he searched, he couldn't find them. He made sure to check the car well because he was going to lock it before leaving. He asked the people inside the bar, but they hadn't found her keys. They said they'd keep them if they did. Ricky managed to get her into the car, though she was very far from cooperative. She knew who he was, at the very least, so he was able to get it done. After that, he drove her back to his house. He was out for about 30 minutes trying to wrangle her up, but I was happy that I could trust him to do that for me when I couldn't do it myself. It was probably like 2 hours later when he sent me a picture of her sleeping on the couch with the caption, "Mission accomplished." I thanked him so much for helping me out. The next day, he took his kids to school along with her. Her keys were in her bag the entire time, and she was good enough to drive her car to work on her own. As far as I knew, that was all that happened. When she got back home after work, she was acting off, but I assumed that it was because she was embarrassed with how drunk she had gotten. I did scold her over that, because as an adult I think everyone should know how to handle their alcohol, and they should know when to stop. You shouldn't drink so much that you start acting like a fool. I didn't make a big deal of it. I was glad she was home, but I let her know that if she had been able to start her car, things likely would have ended badly. I thought that was everything, until Ricky reached out to me that evening. He told me that he had to really process something that had happened the previous night, but it was never in doubt that he was going to tell me what happened. He said that Jessie had been relatively handsy with him in the car, but he assumed that she thought it was me. However, when they got back home, she got a lot more aggressive with it. He kept repeating that he was Ricky, to try and snap her out of it, but he claims she said, "I know." He said he eventually got her settled in on the couch, and he went up to his room. His lights were off, and she opened the door, came in, and tried to straddle him. He immediately grabbed his phone to start recording because he didn't want it to be a situation where it was his word against hers. He sent the video to me, and the moment I saw it, I knew that I couldn't marry Jessie anymore. Like, beyond the fact that watching her in such a drunken state was incredibly embarrassing, there was the way she was throwing herself at him. All of it was happening in his bedroom. Over and over, he kept mentioning his name and telling her that he didn't want to do anything with her, but she kept approaching him, and he had to keep pushing her back, gently. She tried to reach down his pants, she tried to kiss him, she tried to put his hands between her legs, and she even tried to take off her dress before he stopped her. That was the most physical he got with her the entire time, since he had no choice but to grab her to stop her from undressing. To say that I felt disgusted is an understatement. I was ashamed that she was my fiancée, and I was hurt so bad that she had done all of that with my best friend, who was a married man. It was horrible for me to watch. I downloaded the video to my phone, and I immediately got on the phone with Ricky. I let him know that he was in the clear and I had no issue with him. I was very glad that he had told me, to be honest, because that's the kind of thing you want to know when it happens. I was about to get married to that woman, and finding this out before that happened brings such a mix of emotions. I'm sad and I'm angry, but I'm very relieved. I loved Jessie so much, but I've been through heartbreak before, and I'm going to survive this one too. I haven't confronted her yet, and I'll do it when it feels right, but it is clear that I'm going to have to cancel the wedding. Would you marry someone after seeing a video of them acting like that? I'm entirely sure the answer is no. I don't know how I'm even going to approach it, but I'll make it happen. Update 1. Before I decided to confront my fiancée about what she had done, I needed to make sure that I had her full attention, and they both had an entirely free schedule. I knew that things were about to get extremely messy, and the entire time before the confrontation, I dealt with a lot of anxiety. It was not something I was looking forward to. I did it though, because I didn't have a choice. I think that the moment I mentioned the night she was drunk, she knew what I was going to talk about, because I saw the way her face changed. She also knows how close Ricky and I are, so she probably knew for sure that he had told me. It only made me wonder even more why she thought it was a good idea to choose to cheat on me with him of all people. I asked her to explain herself. I didn't mention about what, and because of that, she tried to play dumb. She said that she didn't know what I was talking about. I asked her if anything had happened between her and Ricky, but she played dumb. She claimed that she was too drunk to remember. That brought me to an important question. So I asked her why she was even getting that drunk in the first place. Her answer was that she didn't mean to get that drunk, but I knew that she didn't handle alcohol well, so the littlest bit would look like she had had a whole lot. It was a horrible argument, because if she had only had a little alcohol and she was throwing herself at my best friend, I didn't want to stick around to see what a lot of alcohol looked like. I confirmed for her that she didn't remember a single thing, and she claimed it was only bits and pieces. So I asked her whether I should hold anything she did in that drunken state against her. She said no, because she might not have been in her right mind when doing it. I told her that the law wouldn't see it that way, and she didn't say anything. I told her that she had been extremely inappropriate with Ricky the previous night, and she had tried to seduce him. She instantly denied that she had done that, which was crazy to me, because I knew that she remembered a lot of what she had done, and I knew she knew Ricky told me. So what was the point of playing dumb? She kept playing dumb, even as I gave her the details of what had happened. The only difference was that she acted more and more appalled about what I was claiming she had done. She claimed that Ricky must have had some kind of ulterior motive, and that was why he was lying. I asked her to expand on that, and she hesitated, as if she shouldn't have said that. I forced it out of her, and she claimed that maybe, in her drunken state, he had tried to take advantage of her. She had stopped him, and his ego was hurt, so he decided to paint lies. When she said that, I realized she had no idea he had recorded her. She had thought there was no evidence, so she could make things up. I just laughed at that. I would have been insulted that she was saying that about my friend, but I already know her true nature, so it would be stupid for me to be offended by what I knew were lies in an attempt to cover her butt. I asked her if she knew he had a video, and as soon as I said that, she froze. I told her she was too drunk to have noticed, but Ricky took a video of her throwing herself at him, so I knew that essentially everything she had just said was a massive lie. She had had an excuse for everything before, but at that point, she didn't have much else to say. I asked her if she wanted to see the video, but she hesitated. She didn't say yes, but I chose to show her anyway, because I wanted to see how she would wiggle her way out of it. She kept trying to avert her face, but I kept telling her to look. She watched her behavior, and I'm sure she was working her mental gears trying to come up with an explanation, but there was nothing she could say that would make sense. Eventually, she settled for, "I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing." She told me that her actions when drunk shouldn't count more than her actions when sober, but I told her that the alcohol just removed the inhibitions. Cheating wasn't far from her if it was that easy for her to throw herself at another man. Was I meant to spend the rest of my life worrying that anytime she had a drop of alcohol, she'd sleep with someone else? She told me that it wasn't that bad, and that night had just been a bad night. I pointed out that she claimed she drank very little, so how had it been a bad night? Every defense she had was falling apart, and I know she was panicking. She's one of those women who has always dreamed of their wedding and how they want it to be, and in that moment, I know she could see it flying away. I had said everything I wanted to say, so I just walked away. She tried to follow me to plead, but I didn't have anything to say to her. I haven't told her what my decision is going to be, and I like it that way. She's going to assume that it's over, but without me saying it in certain terms, she's going to have a little bit of hope that she's holding on to. I've spoken to Ricky, who told me that he told his wife what happened. She was super upset, not at me or him, but purely at Jesse, because the two of them were on pretty good terms. His wife considered Jesse to be a friend, so she offended more people than just myself. She could have ruined my relationship with him, and I'm so happy that she didn't. Update 2. My life was going in one direction, and I really thought that direction was perfectly fine. Sadly for me, my ex-fiancée didn't let me have that. And yes, ex, because I finally called things off officially. I'd be lying if I said that I'm completely okay. Yes, I'm glad to have someone like her out of my life, but I have known her for 10 years. That's like a third of my life. It hurts so much to have her destroy the trajectory of my life this way. I'll get used to it, like any other heartbreak. It'll hurt at first, but it'll hurt less, and one day, I'll move on completely. I paid for a lot of the deposits we made towards the wedding. Most of them were non-refundable, but I did manage to get 2 of them refunded after I gave them my sob story. It was a lot of money down the drain, but hey, it is better than having to have done a full-blown wedding and losing all of that money. I didn't tell her before canceling everything. We remained in that weird state where she was scared to talk to me, and she had no idea what our fate was. She had asked twice, but each time I gave her very vague answers because I really wanted her to suffer through it. I made sure that she found out in the worst possible way. I had a list of all the people who had RSVP'd to the wedding, along with their email addresses. So I wrote an email explaining absolutely everything that had happened. I asked for Ricky's permission to use his video, which he had given, and I attached it to the email. I apologized to anyone who had already made plans, but to be honest, we were still a couple of months out from the wedding, so I doubt anyone was seriously inconvenienced. I knew that the email had gotten to people's inboxes when I started getting messages and calls. I knew that that was going to be the case on her side too. I spoke to as many of them as I could to let them know it wasn't a mistake or a prank, and after a while, I just stopped bothering because there were too many messages to attend to. I had sent the email when she was at work and I was at home, so I was a little surprised when she stormed into the house in the middle of the workday. She didn't even bother sending a message or trying to call before she came back. For some reason, I felt like she wanted to be aggressive, but it's not like she didn't know why it happened. I think the real offense was how it happened. She asked me why I didn't tell her so we could have a chance to talk it over. I made it very clear that there was no space to talk that kind of thing over. She told me that I was very wrong for the way I approached things. She acknowledged that she had messed up, but I didn't have to expose her. She didn't deserve that much, according to her. I let her know that she deserved more, and she was getting off easy. Of course, she didn't agree with me. She wanted to know if there was any chance that we could still make things work, and it genuinely got a laugh from me. She was smart enough to not bother asking for me any stupid questions after that. I watched her as she packed her things to leave the house. There was a little bit of hurt watching her that era end, but I knew that it had to. I've been at home alone for over a week now, and it is so different. Again, it is something that I'll get used to, but it doesn't stop from hurting. One thing I can say is that if I get involved with women again, which isn't something that is going to happen anytime soon, I'm going to avoid women who drink like the plague. That's a brand new red flag for me. You can have fun and be an outgoing person without turning into a stumbling drunk. If there's any moral to the story, I'll say that's it. The drinking excuse collapses immediately. She wasn't too drunk to know better, because the moment consequences showed up, she suddenly had a whole script ready. She denied, minimized, deflected, and then went straight for character assassination when she thought there was no evidence. And the audacity afterward? Claiming she didn't deserve to be exposed when she was perfectly willing to destroy multiple relationships behind closed doors is wild. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry for people finding out. At the end of the day, she showed you exactly who she is when no one is supposed to be watching. Do you have a similar story? Share it with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.